So as you guys know, Roosevelt was having trouble with the Supreme Court. So really 1936, guys, is where we really start to see the Supreme Court, because it takes time for these cases to work their way up. So 36, we really start the Supreme Court crack down on the New Deal, okay? Now, I put this slide in here just it's kind of interesting. It shows you throughout American history from 1789 to 2000, the number of laws that have been deemed unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. The light blue line is federal laws. The dark blue line up top is state and local laws. So if you look at this huge jump here, guys, this is a lot of these are Jim Crow laws. Okay, after Brown versus Board of Education. Okay, so many state and local laws were found to be unconstitutional. This is the decade that we're talking about here. And you can see, yeah, there's more cases than usual that are unconstitutional, okay? All right, so we get to 1936, okay? Roosevelt this is his first term is coming to an end. And remember, he was the last president to be inaugurated on March 4th because the 20th Amendment, or the what amendment? Lame duck amendment. Okay. So he's running for president, and Republicans got to find somebody to run against him. All right. Now, has the New Deal helped a lot of people? Yeah. Okay. Roosevelt and others felt that it had been a success. June industrial production was up to 1923-25 levels. Farm income was up. We know that. We were paying farmers not to plant, paying farmers to plant certain types of crops. Weekly wages were up. And unemployment was down. Remember these public works jobs, right? PWA, the WPA. The WPA employed 8.5 million people over time. Okay? So unemployment was down. The Depression was not over, though. And FDR was very popular. So what the Republicans need here, guys, is a sacrificial lamb. They have zero chance of beating FDR. Okay? FDR's like Santa Claus right now. So, who can we throw out there for the Republicans? How about the governor of Kansas? Do not say Eisenhower. He's still in the military at this point. Has not led our troops to victory in Europe yet. His name is Governor Alf, or Alfred. Alf, they call him Alf Landon. There he is. Okay. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Leave It to Beaver. Okay, this kind of looks like Ward, the dad, Beaver. Okay. Nice, wholesome looking guy. All right. Governor of Kansas. No chance, guys. No chance. Despite his opposition to much of the New Deal, he didn't attack it. No, I don't support giving jobs to people that are unemployed. No, I don't support giving old age pensions to old people. I'm against this. How do you attack that? Now, it's kind of like the student loan forgiveness thing, except the fact that millions of Americans have already paid off their student loans and been through that. But if you've got student loans, you're like, yeah, I'm voting for this guy because he's going to give me something for nothing. Now, If you give somebody a job, that's not something for nothing. Okay. Social Security's not something for nothing. You got to pay into the system. Okay. But some of the New Deal was something for nothing. It's hard to attack this stuff, guys. So they won't. But they won't agree with it. They won't double down on it. People are like, well, we're just going to roll with this other guy that's helping us out. But I understand that. It's a landslide. Now, what's also interesting, because we're in the Depression, you're going to have Norman Thomas, who's a socialist candidate. This guy runs like 4 times for president. A Communist Party candidate, a Union Party candidate. We are in the Depression, and people are looking at other systems besides capitalism and democracy. So Roosevelt's going to win every state except for 2. Poor Alf Landon. Well, I hadn't put that in my room. You know what I mean? Like in my room. Because I know the IT guy.
You told him to fix the dang computer in there that I've been asking him to for 2 months.
Okay. Okay. Look at this. Now, before you say anything, I know it's red. Democrats usually blue. Okay. Vermont and Maine will vote for the Republicans. This is what you call a what? In politics. Okay? Not a shutout. What? Guys, come on. This is a landslide. Right? It's a landslide. Okay? Now, it's not the biggest landslide in American history. You're going to have to wait till 1984. 72 before that is a bigger landslide. Okay? Good? Still going? Okay. Now, I'm going to introduce a new term for you when it comes to politics. I know this is history class, but what Roosevelt's going to have with this landslide, he's so popular that when people go to vote, they're going to vote for Democrats. Not just Roosevelt. They're going to start voting for Democrats. Okay? Now, since the Civil War, guys, since the party of Lincoln, right, the Republicans, party of Lincoln, you guys know the North has more people than the South. So since the Civil War, guys, the Republican Party had dominated Congress. That's all about to change because Roosevelt is going to have what's called coattails. Okay? This spring, when you guys get ready for prom, you guys are going to go tux shopping. Yes? Tuxedo shopping. And one of the options for tuxedo is a coat with tails. One of the 3 proms I attended, I wore tails. Okay? So in a political science term, guys, when a president wins in a landslide, oftentimes they will have coattails, where people, members of Congress from their own party, will ride into office on the president's coattails. Does that make sense? So in 1936, that is exactly what's going to happen. And Democrats that don't get, okay, are going to win majority of both houses of the Congress for the first time since the Civil War. See, Roosevelt had won a lot of new friends with the New Deal. And we start to see solid blocks of people that vote for the Democratic Party. Many of which are still with the Democratic Party almost 90 years later. Okay. So urban areas, farmers, laborers, that's your blue collar workers, teachers, social workers, immigrants, blacks, and would you please add to this list Catholics will flock to the Democratic Party. This will be up here for a while, guys. You should take your time. So let me ask you this. Today, now 2024, if you had to look at these groups of voters, including Catholics, which ones would you say, or one or two, that may not still be with the Democratic Party? Farmers, Catholics are about 50-50. Now, there is a difference. Catholics go to Mass every week, practicing Catholics, tend to be more Republican. Fall-away Catholics tend to be more Democrat. Farmers, yes. And then this is the one I talked about. We talk about the Donald Trump effect. Blue-collar workers. Donald Trump effect. Okay. Reagan and Nixon both did very well with blue-collar workers. They called them Democrats for Nixon and Democrats for Reagan. Okay? And that's how they won massive landslides. African Americans still heavily Democratic, guys. Immigrants, it depends on where you're from. And again, you kind of have the Donald Trump effect when it comes to Hispanic Americans. Okay? He does very well, or has done very well. Okay? Which most Republicans haven't done very well with Hispanic voters. Okay? All right. Now, Roosevelt used those fireside chats, okay? He was around the media almost constantly. Mr. Ferris and I were talking about this the other day at lunch. Roosevelt, people were really surprised how well he connected with people. Because he was born with the silver spoon in his mouth, because he was rich, a Harvard man, people didn't think he would relate to the people. That couldn't be further from the truth. He related very well to people. And maybe that's his paralysis. It made him human. It made him understand suffering. It made him understand hardship. Okay, it made him more empathetic. okay, towards people that were struggling. He didn't talk over people's head. You guys ever listen to the vice president talk? You ever hear her talk? Sometimes I feel like she's talking to like elementary school children when she talks. She's like talking to a child. Okay, the way she talks. It's almost belittling. Like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. You don't have to talk to me like I'm a child. She just explains it like you would explain it to a child, type of thing. It's kind of weird. Hi. And ask the president to take questions from the media. There's no requirement. Okay? So some presidents do a lot of press conferences. Some presidents don't. If you're George W. Bush in 2006 and the Iraq War is turned unpopular and you're going to hold a press conference and you know everybody in that room has really tough questions for you, why would you subject yourself to that? But if you know that most of the people in the room like you and support you and voted for you, well, come on in, folks. Let's have a press conference. Hoover gave 66 press conferences over 4 years. That's like what? Once a month. Okay? Roosevelt would get 337 in his first term. Okay? Which is more than once a week. He was constantly around the reporters. They were his friends. So what kind of questions do you get when the reporters like you? Get these. What's this question? Softball question. Okay? Slow pitch. Softball question. Here's an easy question. Knock it out of the park. Okay? So, one more slide. And we're done. Okay? We're going to skip ahead to 1938 and the midterm elections. Okay? 37, 38. The switch in time saves 9. Right? It's dealt with the minimum wage. Roosevelt trying to pack the court. When people found out that Roosevelt was trying to pack the court, it did not make them happy. People were still objective enough to understand that this would not be healthy for sound government. Even if they did support Roosevelt. In the Roosevelt recession. When many of these New Deal programs were struck down as unconstitutional, they had to shut them down, which means some people lost their jobs. Some people lost the benefits that those programs provided, which sent us backwards. So we're in a depression. Things were improving up to 1936. And then in 1937, things started getting worse again, all while in the Depression. So a recession within a depression. Does that make sense? Okay. This is 1937, and then in 1938, we're going to have midterm or congressional elections. And Roosevelt, upset with some in his own party, is going to try and purge the Democratic Party of conservative Democrats. Now, everybody in here's been through government. So hopefully you can understand what I'm saying. You've got very liberal Democrats, your socialist wing of the Democratic Party, yes. You have your moderate Democrats, and then you have your conservative Democrats. Now, they could be socially conservative, or they could be fiscally conservative Democrats. The ones we're talking about here are probably fiscally conservative. They don't like the Keynesian economics. They don't like the deficit spending, okay? And they're fighting the president on it. Everybody with me? Now, how do you purge the party of these people? Okay. March 19th, guys. Kansas is having a primary election, not a caucus this year. Previous presidential elections dating back 2008, Kansas held a caucus instead of a primary. Okay, that's where I got this bumper sticker from 2008 at the Kansas caucus. Okay, now I don't know if anybody is challenging Ron Estes, who is our 4th district member of the House. Okay. I don't know if there's a Democrat running or multiple Democrats running for that, but if you are a registered Democrat, you get to choose which Democrat gets to run against Ron Estes. Or if somebody is challenging Ron Estes for that seat of the 4th district as a Republican, you get to choose that new person. Say Mr. Ebright was running against Ron Estes for the nomination, okay, to run against the Democrat. You would get to choose that if you were a Republican. Everybody with me? So this is what Roosevelt does. He tries to get rid of the conservative Democrats through these primary elections, and he tries to get liberal or socialist-minded Democrats to run instead of more conservative Democrats. You with me? Does everybody understand that? And when this happens, this purge, you get more extreme candidates. You're getting your socialist candidates. You're getting your Marxist candidates that Roosevelt wanted. But what do the people want? People want moderation. They don't want radical. Why does Kansas have a Democratic governor? This is a freaking red state that Trump carried by more than 20 points. How do we have a Democratic governor? Because the Republicans put forward a candidate that was too conservative, too radical in the minds of most Kansans. And this is what Roosevelt does. And it backfires. And this is the problem that Republicans have a lot of the time, guys, is they put up these candidates that are out of the mainstream. Now, what was the guy's name? You guys remember the guy's name that ran against Kelly? He's the Attorney General of Kansas right now. He won that election. Who is the Attorney General of Kansas? Chris Kobach. Okay. Remember this name? Look, I believe in like a lot of the same stuff this guy believes in. I don't like it. He like gives me a creepy feeling. He's like a creepy guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't trust him. And a lot of Republicans said, I'm not voting for him. Friends of mine. Like, what? No, I don't like this guy. Okay. Does he look?
Well, it's not very flat.
Yeah, it's not very flat. Now,
Creepy smile.
yeah, I'm sure he's not a bad guy, but he lost. And then when he ran for attorney general, I'm like, come on, guys. He's already lost one statewide election. He's going to lose again. Well, I don't know. He won. Okay. It wasn't for governor. Okay. So, guys, when I first started teaching here, I was second year teaching. And I got this guy that's running for governor of Kansas, Republican. I got him to come to Carroll. Okay. I had all the seniors in the library. And this guy comes to talk to our seniors. Running for governor. Like, I could have answered those questions 5 times better than that guy. Like, he's really struggled with his, like, just his knowledge in general. It's like he was just, he's like, let's put this guy up, he'll win. Like, no. And it wasn't because he was too extreme. He just wasn't, I don't think he was qualified. And he lost to Kathleen Sebelius, who was a Democratic governor for 8 years. For 6 years, Obama tapped her as the Health and Human Services Secretary. And she had this whole thing going on, like Laura Kelly, this nice grandma-looking thing going on, trustworthy woman, she, that's come off as, trustworthy and harmless. I'll go with that person instead of the creepy dude. It works. This doesn't. Okay, and Roosevelt found out. You know what I mean? You know that whole thing. Mess around. Find out. Okay? That. I was trying to be hip. A couple political cartoons here. New Deal. Roosevelt. Wanted action? Here it is. Okay? Ring around the Roosevelt, pockets full of dough. And of course, the Blue Eagle of the NRA. Okay. So, let me just real quick, because this is the first time Democrats controlled Congress since the Civil War. So I just, I get curious. So I looked stuff up and put it in here. Okay. So this is dating back to 1860. The red is Republican, the blue is Democrat. The top is the Senate, the bottom is the House. Okay, this takes us through 2014. Okay, so you see Republicans dominant here. Democrats, it looks like they might have had 2 years where they had control here in the 1880, 82. So, but full control, this is where we're seeing it. This is Roosevelt right here. Okay, so Democrats are going to dominate. Even though in 38 they lost a bunch of seats, they still controlled both houses. Okay, they lose control right after World War II. 1946, Republicans are coming back. That's the 80th Congress, and I'll have some notes on that because they got 2 years, the Republicans, to undo what Roosevelt did over 13 years. Okay, and they're going to try and undo as much as they can. The 80th Congress. Okay, that's right here. Then Democrats back in, then Republicans get 2 more years, and then holy crap, Democrats control everything for a long time until 1994 with the Republican Revolution and Newt Gingrich. Okay, and you can thank Hillary Clinton for a lot of that because she was the first lady. Okay, Bill was all right. Now Republicans hated it at the time. Okay, a lot still do. But then Republicans get back in, okay, and now we got this divided government, very closely divided government right now. So guys, as you guys are getting into the political world at 18, it does bear importance to pay attention, guys, and to participate. We have some turning point stuff going on in this country right now. History is being written right now. China is challenging the United States for dominance on this planet. And Russia is helping them. And then there's the Middle East, which will always be an issue. Okay, so there it is, the New Deal. Okay, so Monday will be a review day. It's on Canvas right now. What can I do, Mr. Evright? Hey, open Canvas this weekend, read through your notes. A lot of you guys take them. Read through your notes a few times. You can print off the review sheet, get started early if you want. There's going to be 10 matching. They're all going to be names. A bunch of them start with the letter H. Okay, so if you want to start memorizing H's this weekend, you don't have to worry about it Monday night. Okay, that'll get you a good start. I talked about several things that you're going to have to write about: Social Security, beer and the economy. Switching time saves 9. Okay, there's going to be a few things, and I'm likely to be here Monday. If I'm not here Monday, guys, I will create a video for you and send it out. Okay, and I'll have some review sheets for you if you haven't printed one off. Sound good? You guys, kind of good thing is,